Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Martine, and if you are new here, I do videos on Vedic astrology mainly, but also with some tropical astrology insights, and I focus on both relationship and natal astrology. And if you like this video and you would like to see more content from me, please like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell to see when I will post a new video. Also, please comment in the comment section with anything that you would like to give as feedback for this video. And also, if you're interested in a personal consultation, I do consultations on a wide variety of topics. You can check out the video description. I will leave my contact information there. Thank you. And also, I have started a tarot channel more recently than this channel. And I'm also going to be linking that in the video description. In case you like tarot, you might want to go ahead and check it out. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, maybe consider subscribing if you are interested in tarot. Thank you. So, today's video is going to be about transits for 2023. And as I said, I am starting with Aries because that was the first sign that I extracted among my ruffles. So I'm going to start as usual with an introduction, and this introduction is going to be the same for all of the videos in this series for 2023. So if you listen for it once, then it will be the same for all of the videos in this series. So mainly I'm going to start by saying that as I also mentioned last year, you can use these videos with predictions for 2023 for your moon sign as well as for your ascendant sign. You probably remember that I mentioned that you can take your moon sign as ascendant and look at the rest of your planets from your moon sign, and that is called a Chandra Lagna chart, meaning literally taking the moon as an ascendant and looking at the rest of the placements from the moon. And especially if the moon in your horoscope, in your natal chart, is in a lower degree than the ascendant or the Lagna, it might be particularly relevant for you to look at the moon chart as opposed to the Lagna chart. Both of them are important though. It's just that in certain situations, the Chandra Lagna or the Moon Lagna can be more important when it comes to predictions. Okay, that's something that I wanted to say. Also, I have divided the year into 3 main parts as usual with respect to transits. Now, in the first roughly 2 weeks of 2023, the placements will be basically very much the same as they were in the end of 2022, or as they are going to be at the end of 2022. So if you want to see your predictions, you can just go back to my 2022 series and rewatch the chart 3 phase for the ascendant that you have, or the moon sign that you have, in my videos for 2022. I'm gonna link the playlist for 2022 transits in this video description. So go ahead and watch that for the roughly 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of 2023. So from January 1st until roughly January 14th, 2023, when Saturn is going to be in Capricorn. So the main divisions that I have looked at for 2023 are from roughly January 14th until April 19th, 2023, when Rahu is going to be in Aries, Jupiter is going to be in Pisces, Saturn is in Aquarius. The second chart is going to be when Rahu, from around April 19th until December 2nd, 2023, when Rahu is going to be in Aries, Jupiter is going to be in Aries, Saturn is going to be in Aquarius. And then the final section is going to be from December 2nd until the end of 2023, or roughly December 31st, 2023, when Rahu will be in Pisces, Jupiter in Aries, Saturn in Aquarius. So these are the 3 main sections that I will be looking at for all ascendants. And if you look at the chart, I have marked the planets. RA means Rahu, JU means Jupiter, SA means Saturn, KE means Ketu. And I will be marking the aspects for each of these with a different color. Yellow for Jupiter, red for Rahu, or pink for Rahu, gray for Saturn, and that's about it. I haven't marked the Ketu aspects because Ketu is always opposite Rahu. Okay, so Ketu, just like Rahu and Jupiter, also aspects the 5th and the 9th houses from itself in addition to the house that it opposes. So this is just for you to know, but I haven't marked them, these aspects, Ketu's aspects, on the chart just to keep it, you know, simple. And yeah, this is pretty much what I wanted to say as an introduction. And now I'm going to get into the individual descriptions for the sign at hand. Welcome, Scorpio. This is your prediction for 2023. Just a quick reminder, you can check both your moon sign and your ascendant sign for these predictions, especially if your moon sign is in a lower degree than your ascendant. You might want to check it out because it might be particularly relevant for you. I'm sorry if you hear any background noise. There's like some kind of a party going on in the neighborhood, and it has been going on for hours, so I can't postpone the reading until it finishes because I don't know how longer it's going to take. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can definitely hear some bass every now and then. Okay, so the chart one phase from January 14th until April 19th, 2023. You have Saturn in the 4th house, Jupiter in the 5th house, Rahu in the 6th. Rahu is continued from the previous year. And let me see, you also have Rahu co-ruling the 4th. Jupiter rules the 2nd and the 5th. Saturn rules the 3rd and 4th houses. So, first of all, what I see is you're going to have a year of, how should I put it, transformation, in the sense that you might be working on your physical body a lot. Well, not just a year, I mean specifically for this period. You could be working a lot on your fitness. This is definitely a good time to work on your fitness and your image as well. And it's also a good time to work on, especially for those of you who might be into something creative. Maybe you're using your voice a lot. You could benefit from working on these things, like working on your voice, working on your heart chakra and your throat chakra as well, if you follow the, you know, energy systems of chakras. And also Saturn rules the 3rd and the 4th houses, and it aspects the ascendant. So this shows that you're going to be putting a lot of effort, I would say consciously, towards your body, your physical body during this time. And also towards your health. So any health problems that you might have, actually, this is a good time to work on them, focus on healing. And since you have all of these houses with the 3rd and the 2nd house aspecting the 1st house, this to me can show especially something connected with the throat and the voice. See how that resonates. And of course, I do mention, as usual, that there could be other placements in your individual horoscope that might overpower these predictions because they are general. So, Jupiter in the 5th house definitely shows that throughout this entire phase, the best part about your life is going to be that you're going to be more optimistic. You might have more time to focus on your hobbies, or you're going to make more time to focus on the things you just love to do. Creative activities, romance, spending time with your significant other, dating. This could also be a good time for you to meet someone with respect to forming a relationship or romantic relationship, especially for those of you who have love marriage aspects in your natal horoscopes. And this is also a good time with respect to children, especially for those of you who want to have a child by any means, whether it's biological or adoption, and or with respect to relationship to children in general. This is also a great time for you to, for those of you who are planning on working in fields of teaching, publishing, dramatic arts, anything that has to do with passion projects and creativity. Let me see. This is also a great time of luck because Jupiter is really strong and you have the ruler of the 5th in the 5th. And this definitely shows that you could be getting some unexpected windfall. This is even a good time for you to play the lottery if you have ever considered doing that. Unless you have certain specific aspects in your horoscope that basically can show that you are not prone to windfalls, if that makes sense. You know, I won't get too much into detail here, but generally, Jupiter in the 5th definitely can show that there might be gains unexpectedly, especially since Jupiter also rules the 2nd house, which is the house of savings. So at the very least, you might find that your income is high enough during this time that you can put more aside in terms of savings. And with respect to your career, this definitely shows that with Saturn in the 4th, this is going to be a time of, you know, slow and steady wins the race. So don't expect any huge sudden changes with respect to your career during this time, which is not to say that, you know, you're not going to have opportunities or anything like that, especially if you're looking for a job. But with Saturn being there, when it comes to actually getting a job or getting a promotion or anything that has to do with actual career achievements and status achievements, you're going to have to work for it because Saturn doesn't want anything left to chance. So you have to do your best. You have to plan, you have to work hard, and you have to postpone gratification. That's what Saturn likes in order for you to get positive results in these areas. And with respect to your health, the same thing. With respect to health, I would definitely advise you to be careful. And this is true for the entire time when Rahu is in Aries, actually. Be careful that you do not take too many medications. Be careful. Potential risks with respect to your health could be things like, you know, medications interacting badly with one another, unintentional poisoning. So I don't want to scare you or anything, but I'm just telling you that during this time when Rahu's in the 6th, you might be more prone to these things. And of course, it could be any kind of intoxication, whether voluntary or involuntary. And obviously, when I say voluntary, I'm talking about people who drink more than they should or smoke more than they should. So this is a good time to try to work on those bad habits that you might have, especially if you have any kind of addiction, even addiction to legal drugs, like, I don't know, all kinds of things. You might want to look for something more natural that doesn't have side effects, or look for, you know, homeopathic remedies and stuff like that. Because Rahu is there and it's also co-ruling the 4th, this is definitely a good time to work on your mental health. And another thing is that it could be, I mean, there could be some kind of a direct link between your living environment and your health. You know, you might want to consider changing something with respect to your living arrangements in order to improve your health. So this could mean literally something in your home might be contributing to potential health problems, or it could be the emotional environment. You know, maybe the people in your home environment are somehow, you know, stressing you out or somehow, you know. But I can think, you know, with respect to the physical home, I can think of problems like, I don't know, mold problems or allergies or something, stuff like that. And especially things that are hidden, you know, might be affecting your health or might be giving you more work and trouble during this time. With Saturn there could also be something like plumbing problems, for instance, or things that are hidden, you know, like in the infrastructure, I don't know if infrastructure is the right word, in the design, in the build of a home, but stuff that is hidden in the walls or something, stuff that is not readily seen. So that's why I said plumbing or electrical panels, stuff like that. So be careful with that. These things could bring you more headaches during this time, basically, the whole time when Saturn is in Aquarius, actually. So another thing that I can say, also with Saturn being in the 4th house throughout this entire time when Saturn is in Aquarius, you are definitely going to maintain a more, I think, minimalist attitude towards your living environment. You're probably not going to feel too much of a drive to, you know, buy expensive decorations or too much comfort in your home environment. You're probably going to be focusing on decluttering and keeping things simple and clean. All right, this is more specific. For some of you, you might be moving in with siblings or friends or even neighbors. This is like, I know it sounds kind of really specific. Or, again, this could be like somehow your neighbors are interfering with your home. Or they might give you some problems a little bit during this time. And when I say this time, again, I'm talking about the entire time when Saturn is going to be in Aquarius. This is definitely going to be a lucky phase with respect to foreign travel, travel to foreign lands, relationship with the father figure and mentors, teachers, legal figures, friends. This is a good time to make new friends or to become more social, more socially active. Relation with your children and your elder siblings are going to be good, with your friends as well. You're also going to be seen in a favorable light during this time. You're going to be seen as, you know, wise and mature and responsible at the same time. You're definitely going to be favored if you want to go for something like publishing, teaching, writing, especially teaching. Also, to some extent, you know, dramatic arts. Ketu in the 12th, and again, this is going to be for the entire time when Ketu is going to be in Libra, and Rahu is going to be in Aries. So this is most of the year. Again, you're definitely going to have heightened intuition. And you might be taking on some kind of a long distance or long-term travel. This can also show that you might feel more isolated than usual. You might either voluntarily, you know, isolate yourself, or you might be forced to spend long periods of time in isolation somehow. But this definitely shows a time when your subconscious is going to be very active. So you could be getting a lot of insights, a lot of flashes of intuition and creativity because of your subconscious. So especially during your dreams, for instance. This is something that I would recommend when I see this transit, that you write down your dreams. If you, you know, I mean, if you remember them, yes. And if you write down your dreams on a regular basis, you might start to see some patterns. Like, you might start to notice some things that are showing up regularly and try to think of what they might mean, because your dreams could be giving you some insights and, you know, maybe even answer some questions that you have. But this is a good time to focus on things to do with resting yourself, resting your mind. Again, meditation, breathing, exercises, yoga, and also, yeah, like I said, meditation. And also anything that has to do with working with intuition and dreams. There might also be some kind of a sense of separation with respect to the mother figure. Like, relations might become a little bit tense with the mother figure. You might also have some issues with respect to vehicles. This is not a good time, for instance, to buy a new vehicle or to change your home. You know, you might encounter obstacles with respect to these things. Or to sell a property as well, you might encounter more obstacles than usual. And again, this is probably gonna be throughout the entire period when Saturn's in the 4th house. With respect to potentially negative aspects, definitely not a good time to buy a pet or to, yeah, expand your pets, depending if you're a pet person or not. This is not a great time to really, you know, take on too many responsibilities unless you know that you can take care of them thoroughly without leaving anything to chance. It's not a great time to take on extra responsibilities with respect to pets, because again, because Saturn is aspecting the 6th house, that shows that, you know, you might come across all kinds of unexpected obstacles and frustrations with respect to pets. You know, stuff like they might get sick, or, you know, you might have problems with your neighbors because of them, or all kinds of things. You know, usually when Saturn is aspecting that house, I always see that stuff, you know, where there suddenly are going to be problems with pets. And with the 6th house, it also shows, and I'm telling you this because, you know, some people don't want to hear negative stuff at all, but I think it's a good thing to get a heads up, you know, because, and I was going to say this, and you're going to understand why. If you have a job, you need to really cling to it, you know, because if you have these aspects that and you do have them because I'm looking at them right now, they're going to create obstacles for you in terms of getting a new job, for instance. So this is not a great time to change your job if you have one. My personal advice would be, you know, if you can suck it up a few more months, like, until, I would say, most of this year, actually, because these aspects are going to continue throughout most of the year. I would say don't try to do anything drastic with respect to your career during this time, because with Saturn aspecting your 6th and 10th houses, this is bad for getting a new job. You know, you might really encounter a lot of obstacles. And so, especially for those of you who are employed and you're looking to be employed. For those of you who have your own business, it might actually be a little bit easier, but still not the best period. Unless you are somehow directly related to 5th house professions. So creative professions, teaching, especially teaching, working with children, and or anything Jupiterian, like, you know, working with philosophy, beliefs, stuff like that. Also with things like stock market, speculative gains, stuff like that. And anything creative, basically. All right, so this is what I can see for the chart 1 phase. Let me see the chart 2 phase. So with the chart 2 phase, this is from around April 19th until December 2nd, 2023. So most of the year, this is when Rahu and Jupiter are gonna be conjunct together in the 6th house. And for the most part, this is a positive aspect because Jupiter and Rahu together means that Jupiter is going to positively affect all of the Rahu aspects in your chart. So this actually might be a good time for you to, for instance, get a pet, get a job. So your luck will increase, your opportunities will increase. So yeah, scratch what I said in the previous chart. So it's not, I thought it was going to be for like the rest of the year, but I forgot that Jupiter is going to move in with Rahu. So the things that I said about having a hard time getting a job, that's true for the chart 1 phase mainly. This time for this chart phase, you're actually going to have improved opportunities with respect to finding a new place of employment. With respect to, let me see, especially if you want to work in real estate, especially if you want to work in also teaching, creativity, so all the fields that I said previously stand, but also if you want to work in real estate or something to do with vehicles. And so anything to do with real estate, this could be hotels, it could be architecture, it could be interior design, anything to do with homes, physical homes. Or, of course, could be perhaps working from home. So, you might have some conflicts with your family of origin during this time. There might be a little bit more tense relations. Worst case scenario, even some kind of a separation. But it's really weird because you have both a positive and a kind of a negative aspect here. So it could be that you might have some conflicts, but ultimately it will all be for the better somehow. Maybe it's especially for those of you who maybe want to move away from your family of origin. This is going to continue to be a great time for you to work on healing any kind of health problems that you have, whether physical, mental, emotional. There will be a lot of effort put, and again, this was true for the chart 1 phase as well. A lot of effort put towards, I feel like some of you might be, you know, particularly competitive during this time, or you might be working towards a certain competition. Some of you might be preparing for an admission towards an educational system. So for those of you who are doing this, you're going to be favored. You're going to be favored in areas to do with competitions. But this doesn't mean that, again, it's going to be supernatural, because you still have the Saturn aspects, which means you are going to be expected to work hard for everything that you achieve, everything you have. You're going to be especially favored if you are working in also sectors of finance and banking. So any kind of profession, even accounting, professions where you directly work with money, managing companies. So this is going to be a good time to get a job in these professions. And for some of you, this, especially for people who use their voice a lot. So again, this could be, again, a teacher, professor, or some kind of a creative profession like drama or singing. You might be particularly, you know, lucky during this time. But overall, I see your finances increasing during this time. And your finances and, of course, your opportunities. So they're probably tightly correlated. Your opportunities in your career are going to grow. And there's also a connection to finances as well. So if you have been looking for a job, you're definitely going to have higher chances of getting a job during this time. Or if you want to switch your job. That's what I'm going to say. So everything with Ketu is still going to be in the 12th house, like I said, for most of the year. So everything that I said with respect to intuition and your dreams and recommending that you take up meditation and writing your dreams down, all of that stands, because you're still going to be sensitive throughout this entire time. So this is pretty much what I can see with respect to the chart 2 phase. Now for the chart 3 phase, which is only going to be roughly, well, it's not only going to be roughly this month's last month of 2023, because it's going to continue in 2024. But this is for roughly the last month of 2023, when Rahu is going to move in Pisces. So Rahu will be moving into your 5th house, which is interesting because, you know, 5th house is about romance and children. Again, so for those of you who are especially considering something like adoption or any kind of unconventional method of fertility, including things like, I don't know, freezing your eggs for later, or if you are considering in vitro fertilization or anything that has to do with having children through unconventional methods that revolve around state-of-the-art technology, this is a good time for you, especially. You're definitely also going to see an increase in the desire to have children. And for those of you who already have children, interestingly, you might have somewhat of a more tense relationship with them during this time. They might become particularly rebellious during this time, so you might, you know, feel like you're having to deal with a lot of drama, maybe more drama than usual. But of course, to a large extent, it depends on what else is happening in this horoscope on an individual level. But this also shows that you are going to be really focused towards pursuing your ambitions creatively and with respect to your hobbies, whatever your hobbies may be. You might be also more drawn to things like creative expression in general, and especially dramatic arts. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing potential conflicts here. Potential conflicts with a family of origin and kids. Although, mostly the relationship with your family of origin is actually going to be better during this phase. Definitely when compared to the other phases. Ketu in the 11th house shows that during this time you might really have a need to isolate yourself socially, or you might have a tendency to isolate yourself socially. You're going to find yourself less interested in maintaining friendships or attending social events. Relationship with elder siblings could suffer a little bit during this time as well. You might also find that friends and maybe even older siblings are somehow falling away in the background of your existence, like maybe relations are going to get colder, they're no longer going to pursue you or something. You might feel like you have to work extra hard to maintain these relations, and you might not be interested in it. So worst case scenario, you might end up losing some friendships and acquaintances during this time. If you don't want to lose them, then of course you would have to make more conscious effort to maintain these relations, because with that aspect there, your natural tendency is going to be to neglect your social contacts during this time, and even the relationship with older siblings. On the plus side, you could be gaining somehow from your image, even something to do with the physical body. So I'm thinking for those of you who maybe are like fitness instructors or somehow involved in sports, you might be seeing some increase of your gains during this time. But whatever gains you might get, and I'm talking about material gains, they have to come from a place of spiritual servitude somehow. Like you have to have this attitude of you're doing things for the spiritual satisfaction, for helping others, for, you know, the greater good, the greater picture, not so much for direct monetary gain. So unless you have some kind of a spiritual perspective on whatever your job is, you may not be seeing that many financial gains during this time. So Saturn's going to continue to be in the 4th house, everything that I said. in the chart 1 phase about that is still going to stand. Jupiter being in the 6th, the opportunities towards getting a new job and opportunities in career in general are still going to be good, and you're going to be seeing growth. But since Saturn is still also aspecting the 10th and the 6th houses, you're still going to have to put in consistent effort, and most likely the gains that you will get are going to be directly proportional with how much effort, how much discipline you are willing to invest into your profession. Relations with superiors are going to be good. There's definitely a lot of effort being put on your part towards career. I see this. And so there's probably also going to be some frustration. And this is going to be true basically throughout the entire year, that you might feel more frustrated. You might feel like things are not moving as quickly as you would like with respect to your professional life. But you need to keep that in check basically, because Saturn is testing you. That's how you have to think about it. Saturn wants you to be thorough and wants you to be patient and also humble, because Saturn is about being a servant. You're definitely going to have, I mean, throughout the time when Jupiter is in Aries, you're going to have more than average chances to actually do what you love for a living. So this is a great time for those of you who maybe have had some kind of a passion project, a side hustle, maybe a hobby that you have considered turning into a profession. This is a great time for you to work on those things. You know, you might actually get the chance to turn something you love into something you do for a living. But once again, this is also a good time for people who want to teach or want to be in publishing, writing, stuff like that. And any kind of profession that has to deal with faith, basically. So things like higher ideals, philosophy, even religion to some extent, if that is your thing. And again, this is going to be true for the whole time when Jupiter is in Aries. Again, this is going to be a good time, I would say, with respect to your health and with respect, especially with respect to your emotional health. This is probably going to be the best time so far, because you have Jupiter aspecting both the 12th and the 6th house. So this just shows that, you know, especially with your mental health, you know, your overall sense of peace is going to be higher. I mean, provided that you also put in some work. You're probably going to be more relaxed during this time. You're going to have a better mood. And you're also going to have a good opportunity to increase your finances and your savings, like I said. And you might be getting opportunities from abroad with respect to your professional growth. Alright, so this is pretty much what I can see with respect to your charts, Scorpio, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. And if you have, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and click on the notifications bell to see when I will post a new video. And also please comment in the comment section with any feedback you would like to give, and of course feel free to come back throughout the year and keep me posted on how the year is going. And yeah, also if you are interested in a personal consultation, I do consultations on a wide variety of topics, and check out the video description. I will leave my contact information there and you can email me for more details. Thank you.